The Father owns us, right? Because we've exchanged our will for him. So he doesn't want strife in the midst of brethren, those ambassadors, especially in the congregation, sowing strife. Now, how do we get to that? So we're going to dissect that because we want to make sure that we don't fall into one of those categories. So let's go back to the notes here, because gossip will bring strife. So you have to make sure you keep your mouth off of people, especially the ones that you call brother, the ones that you're sitting right next to. You have to be careful what you say, because that allows the access door to come in, and it opens the door to breathe or birth strife. And guess what? Strife will lead you right to offense. And offense locks up a lot of things for us. I'm going to share something with you personally that happened for me that I want to share, and hopes that you'll get the precept as well. Strife also breaks unity. And we know that the Father loves unity. He loves brethren coming together and working together. It's pleasing to the Father. It offers up a sweet aroma to him. So we have to make sure that we don't break that unity. I want to make sure that I'm not the one that the spot is found. The Father wants us unspotted. Those spots come by little small things. We know a principle in the scripture: the small foxes destroy the vine. It's the small thoughts that come to you that you don't deal with, because if you subject it to the word, just as in Corinthians, you subject it to the word to make sure that it's from a pure source. But it's the small thoughts, that small conversation that you have with somebody. You plant a thought in their belief system, and guess what? The enemy's waiting on it. He's waiting on to breathe on that little seed that you planted. So be diligent in seeing what's going on. Also, strife nullifies favor. And some people say grace, but we've been taught right? So it nullifies favor. It causes it, in the word for that, nullify, to make legally null and void. So legally make null and void when we operate in strife. Now, this is important. So our next point here is make every attempt to stay away from strife. We as ambassadors have to make sure, because look, the word tells us to renew our minds daily. He tells us that the flesh must die daily, and we know by proper teaching by our senior pastor that flesh is that human reasoning, trying to figure everything out ourselves. And strife loves that. That spirit of strife, it loves to get you in that realm of thinking outside of what you're supposed to think about. And that's where, at the end result of that, you get this bitterness. And then it opens the door for offense to happen. So we have a few scriptures to get through tonight that are going to show us very clearly how detrimental strife is, especially to our ambassadors. Now, let's look into Helaman 1:1. And it says, "Blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stands in the path of sinners, nor sits in the seat of the scornful, but his delight is in the law, the teaching of Yahweh. And his law he meditates day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bring forth its fruit in its season, whose leaf also shall not wither." And so a point we want to get here, a principle, is over in that third verse there. No, the first verse, the last paragraph in that first verse. "Nor sits in the seat of the scornful." And I want you to highlight that scornful again in the interlineary. I just want to show you what that is. And it as he's pulling it up. It says to mock or to scorn, to formally talk big, speak words which show no respect for the object, and make fun of the object. So this is where gossip comes in at, this mocking. And so you have to be careful of the conversations that you have, because you don't want to open the door for strife to enter in. And it's, again, the small foxes destroy what? The vine. So we don't want that to happen to us. So we have to be and care enough about your other ambassadors to say, "Hey, hold on, I don't think we need to talk about that. We don't want to sow discord. We don't want that to be an abomination in the eyes of the Father." And that'll kill that. And as we get through these scriptures, you'll see. So let's go to Mishlei 22:10, and we continue to see how strife is powerful All right. That's 22 and 10. All right. And it says, cast out the scoffer and contention. When you go to contention, that's that again, that gossiping. It said, cast it out and the contention will leave. Yes, strife and reproach will cease. You can kill strife right there by not operating in that realm of talking and talking about people and trying to start conversations, but you don't know what you're doing, because when you open that door, offense is very sneaky. It's very sneaky. It doesn't just pop up. And I'm gonna give you an example of that. I had to come before the congregation, and that wasn't an easy thing to do, but I was offended at my pastor. Yes, I said it. And it wasn't one of those offenses where you are meditating on something evil against your pastor. And we talked about it, and he said something that really enlightened me. And that was, well, because I was in denial of it first. I was like, no, I'm not offended. He said, well, young people like to call it, they distancing themselves. I'm gonna distance myself from this person. I'm just kind of distancing myself right now. That's offense. Why wouldn't you want to be in the face of a master rabbi or the teacher that's teaching you and feeding you? Why wouldn't you want to be in his presence? Something snuck in, and what was it? The small fox. The small fox does what? Destroy the vine. So we have to be careful of that. And again, offense is just like a bear trap on your head. Think of it like that. It's just kind of something gruesome like that, to where you're walking around with this, and people that have a spirit of discernment can see that you're truly offended, but you are the one that think you aren't. That's a dangerous state to be in, because if you can't acknowledge it, you can't be free from it. The Father is not going to heal an area that you don't open up to him. But if you're in denial of it, oh, I'm not offended. Yes, you are. You didn't do this. You didn't do that. That's a dangerous state to be in. And that comes up through, again, strife.